The biggest thing, criminal justice reform. Obama and Biden never even tried it. And that was something so important for the black community. They came to me. They wanted it so badly because it's a very unfair situation. And they came. So
unfair to minorities.
Especially minorities, and especially black and Hispanic. It's so unfair. And I said, why wasn't this done before? Now, Obama didn't try. If he did, he may come out and say, we did try, but, he didn't get it done. I got it done. People said you wouldn't be able to get it done. I got it done with the help of some very good Republicans.
And some Democrats as well. Let's bring in Ja'Ron Smith, the Deputy Assistant to the President and Deputy Director of the Office of American Innovation. As you can see, he is down in Washington. Ja'Ron, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing okay. So the President was talking a little bit about criminal justice reform, which passed the Congress a while back. Yesterday, the House passed their George Floyd criminal justice police reform bill after the Senate was unable to even get past the 60-vote rule. And now we hear the president is going to veto the House bill if it winds up on his desk. This has become a political issue, an election year issue. People wanted stuff done, and now it looks like Washington is dysfunctional in not being able to pass something.
This is exactly right. Originally when the House started negotiating on the bill, the way this usually works is they work in a bipartisan manner. That's how the First Step Act got done. We had bipartisan advocates, and we were able to get a bipartisan process. The same thing in the Senate. There was ample opportunity to really consider the bill, have some bipartisan amendments, and get something that we can get the whole country behind. But instead, the Democrats have chosen to play politics, and that's their whole intent. They never wanted to get something done, and that's unfortunate. And I think the American people deserve a lot better than what they gave us.
Okay, so President Trump says that violence in Democrat-run cities like Chicago and Baltimore is like living in hell. Listen to him at the town hall last night, and then we'll get your reaction on the other side.
Chicago's an example. It's like worse than Afghanistan. We have cities that are worse, in some cases far worse. Take a look at Detroit. Take a look at what's happening in Oakland. Take a look at what's happening in Baltimore. And everyone gets upset when I say it. They say, oh, is that a racist statement? It's not a racist. Frankly, black people come up to me, say, thank you, sir, for saying it. They want help. These cities, it's like living in hell. But last week, and I think 2 weeks before that, they shot 14 and 18 people killed and 68 people in Chicago.
So he says, get used to it if you vote for Biden. What do you say?
I say that the president is exactly right. We need to go into some of these localities and fix it. It's no reason why a place like Chicago has had more deaths since 9/11 than Afghanistan. I mean, these numbers are just, we can't live this way in society. And I've lived in some of these communities, and people want opportunity. People want change. And what the president is trying to usher in here is a four-pronged strategy that includes access to health care, access to capital, jobs, and safe communities. And that should be the American way for any community around the country.
Ja'Ron, what do you how do we split the difference? After George Floyd was killed, we want to talk about making us, as a country, moving forward on race relations. That lasted a couple of days. Then we're talking about anarchy. We're talking about pulling down monuments. How can we talk law and order, which I think most people are behind, at the same time try to make progress on race relations? Have you talked about that in the Oval Office? Have you talked about that with the president?
Right. Well, I mean, look, instead of people setting fires to the cities, they should fire some of their elected officials who aren't being accountable to them. And we're going to hold them accountable because we're going to show up whether they like it or not because the people want it. You mentioned Chicago, you mentioned Baltimore. We've had advocates on the ground who's reached out to us directly, and they want to do the work. Church leaders, law enforcement officials. With the people wanting to get the help in the partnership, we're going to do what it takes to try to get solutions. And the police executive order that the president signed is a great first step to do it.
Well, we know you have a very busy Friday. Ja'Ron Smith, we thank you very much for joining us live today. Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thanks so much.
All right.